The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. Well, a pleasant good evening, everyone out there. It is Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. Welcome to the only show about Spartan Dawgs, hosted by Spartan Dawgs. This is Sparta MSU. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, played in the Pearl of Saving era as the center and team captain. And I got my two dogs here from the Smith and D'Antonio era, the boss, Otis Wiley, hard-hitting safety, ball-hawking safety, and Jehuu Jehuu Caulcrick. Just a touchdown machine, season record holder for touchdowns at Michigan State. If this is your first time, we welcome you. If this is not your first time, we thank you. Be sure to join the live chat. That's where the party's at. And follow us on all of our social media platforms at This is Sparta MSU. And don't forget, if you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button. Helps us a whole lot, guys. And let us know where you are watching from. I know they're watching us in Opelousas, Louisiana right now, and we are excited to announce SeatGeek as the newest sponsor of our show. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Michigan State Athletics. SeatGeek will be rewarding a lucky fan with upgraded seats for each home game. Whether you're buying or selling football tickets, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek, so Spartan fans can fan. Fellas, how was your weekend? We have a special guest, and I know he's going to talk more in depth of this, but you guys had a little fun playing a little bocce ball, huh?
Yes. Honestly, man, Chew educated me on the rules right before I stepped out. and Chew it was a great experience, and I can't wait to break it down with our special guest coming on, but I mean, look, we were the life of the matches, man. Chew was out here get let's go, man. Rev. we gotta say it. So Rev, which is strange, one of his best friends, was Jeff Howard. Jeff is like,
J-Dub Sexton.
Hey man, we gotta do it. We gotta do it for the culture.
For the community.
So it was a good vibes, man. It started out cool, and then it started getting intense because you're trying to win the championship, man. And so Chew was trying to get out that thing out the consolation bracket, and he was trying to get out. He was almost there, but his teammate tapped out, man.
Yeah, my partner was in between games taking naps in the basement. So
it's all bad.
But it was a lot of fun, and it was really cool because going into it, I think Otis didn't know what to expect, going into it. And he came in, like he said, I explained a little bit of the rules to him, and he fully embraced that. He embraced it. And when he got on that platform to go, he was ready.
Game time, wasn't it?
And I think because he golfed in the morning and then came right from it. I think fatigue set in a little bit because I could see it in his face. He's like, man, he set in with Otis a little bit. I think on a if he has a day of rest and goes in, he can make a really good showing. I mean, he ended up in third place, but that's really good. But I think there was a little more left in him.
Yeah, absolutely. I hit that wall. I was like, man, I would sleep 12 times. I was up, but I was asleep mentally. So, but no, it was a good time. I can't wait to break it down in the history of the tournament with our guests coming on.
And shout out to to them. It was good food, good drinks, really good people, good company. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounded like a lot of fun. It looked like, and we're going to get deep into that with our special guest that's coming up soon. But nearing the midpoint of camp, fellas, thoughts on what guys are hearing? You got these tweets updating the position battle. So, do we have some of those to show? I mean, there's a lot. You know, a lot to say about, you know, the Hauser Noah Kim battle. You know, it says Tucker told a story from Saturday scrimmage where Caden Hauser told quarterback Noah Kim, "We have 2 scores." Hauser didn't mention that he had 1 and Kim had 1, but collectively they had 2. It looks like Tucker liked the fact that they were using a team vibe in the middle of the competition, fellas.
Yeah, what's Choo saying? Go ahead. It's not a I or me. It's a we. Was that the is
Us,
that the
we
saying?
are.
Us we are, right?
Not I, me, mine.
Not I, me, mine. So, you know, it's good to know that it's a selfless attitude coming up this season with this team. So, I think it was a lot of different personalities, a lot of single guys last season, but that was because there was a lot of displacement when it came to, you know, summer camp and not being in one locker room. We got everything kind of going, steamrolling with the facility. A lot of team bonding, which you heard our guests and the former players on the show talk about, is that there's been a lot of focus on the team bonding aspect because we are only as best as our team bond. So it's still crazy because we're still in the middle of camp, and you know we haven't had one or the other take the lead in the quarterback battle, and then maybe that's just, you know, waiting to the end, but. You know, we're going to be able to see camp, you know, either tomorrow or even Thursday morning to do a little report back. But for sure, we're looking forward to seeing some new things happening after the scrimmage this past Saturday.
Yeah, Big Ten Network was at camp too today. They took some video and had some great interviews, it sounded like, with the quarterbacks once again.
Yeah, you know, so with the quarterbacks, I know Caden Hauser and Noah Kim are getting a lot of the pub and a lot of the shine and everything here. But this quarterback room is something special. So keep an eye on this quarterback room here because this Sam Leavitt kid, don't sleep on him either. I'm not saying he's going to be the starter this year. I think he has what it takes to be a starter, you know, in this program. I was talking to an insider, you know, in the facility there, and you know, they were telling me a story that, you know, they were standing in practice and Sam was playing quarterback, and you know, he throws and the receivers come back, and one of the receivers go to him and be like, "Man, you looked at me. I thought you were going to throw me the ball," but he didn't throw it to that receiver. And Sam says, "Good. I want all the receivers to play like they think the ball's coming to them." That is a mature kid. That doesn't sound like a freshman coming in. You know, he has pretty big size.
He looks the part. Yeah, we saw him. I saw him. He does look the part.
He has the hair. He has the quarterback hair and everything like that. So, but you know, I think at the end of the day, still, you know, in the driver's seat of this is Noah Kim.
I look, crack analysis there, fellas. Cal Haladay is another guy here who added a bunch more watch lists to his resume. Cal Haladay now looks like he's on the Chuck Bednarik Award watch list. I mean, there's like 3 of them now that the nation's best linebacker is, the nation's best linebacker awards that Cal Haladay is now on the list for.
Yeah, it's great to know, like, Kyle is getting the recognition that we all have known he's deserved for a long time. Clearly, we talked about how he got spited and shorted from the accolades postseason this past year, where, you know, he was a sound, solid guy on that defense, even with all the issues that we've had. But to do it as humble as Kyle has done it is very, very it's respectable. Like, it's an opportunity to know that every time you see Kyle, you meet him, you're going to get Cal Haladay. You're going to get the humble, quiet guy smiling. And even in his Big Ten interview today, he's just like what he was with us at the field house. He's just like, you know, almost like he's a shy guy, but you know, when you put the helmet on, it's like, it's the body man, they call him. So it's good to get that recognition. And he's not a guy that, I won't not say he's looking for that. He's looking to win. And as he's looking for this team to do what he knows that they can do. So shout out to Cal Haladay and being recognized for preseason awards.
Yeah, you know, it's good to be recognized for preseason, but you know, I want him on those stands for postseason because Absolutely. That means he had a hell of a season. It means Michigan State had a hell of a season. So, you know, those are the things. And you know, you said it, Otis. He's not a guy. I don't think he's, you know, thinking, because there's some types of people that could be reading the press clippings and being like, oh man, I'm on this list, I'm on this watch list, I'm on that. I don't think Cal is that type of player. I think he's that type of player that wants to get it done on the field, and at the end of the year, let those accolades and the team wins show for it. So I feel comfortable with him getting all these press clippings and everything like that, because I feel he's a guy that can handle that kind of success early on.
And then we're seeing right now too, like people are saying, look, Jacoby Windman is flying under that radar. Well, he did that last year too, and knowing when he transferred in, we already know what the body of work that Jacoby Windman puts out there, right? So it's almost probably fueling the fire of this is him coming in and like, hey, they're going to put some respect on my name, which is good because we're going to have a massive amount of production from that linebacker crew.
Love that. We got a lot of linebackers. We got some good ones like that are seniors. And we got some young ones, too, that we're going to be talking about all season long. I've got no doubt about it.
You're talking about the linebackers there. Like someone, and we talk about, people sleeping on some linebackers. People might be sleeping on Jordan Hall. His transformation that he has come from IMG, and we know IMG gets the players ready to play right away. There isn't any of that, I'm going to come in red shirt, when you come in. You saw the body transformation in that photo, going in before camp. He's a guy, I think you'll see him on a lot of special teams. He's going to be making flashes on special teams, and that's going to get him into the rotation a little bit there. I think he's a kid to keep an eye on that I think he can make a splash in his freshman season.
Definitely a guy that we're going to be watching. He's going to be able to contribute. Just a brilliant player, and he's got that size, too. Does not look like a freshman whatsoever. They're watching us in Hazlitt, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Leander, Texas. Guys.
Oh, that's Mama Lou. Mama Lou.
Yeah, you know it.
ATLK, Texas. There you go.
Oh, God. Here goes Otis now. You said Texas.
Look, oh, my God. Look, haters going to hate, man. Because every time you bring up Canada,
don't be trying to hate.
Canada,
hate on Peacock. Don't hate on NBC. Peacock has got another game for MSU. Guys, let's put up the schedule.
Good transition, my brother. Yes, let's put up the schedule. This Iowa one, man, this is where people are they're going to absolutely have to subscribe, which is great. I mean, this is great marketing. This is a great play to get subscribers and get people to convert over there. And I think it's great. I mean, now you look at it, people are griping and complaining, but if you want to watch your team, you got to go ahead and get that subscription. And it just is what it is. I mean, I remember when NFL football went Thursdays on Prime and all that. Everyone's like, oh, man, like what's going on? And clearly the dust settled and you had to do that, right? But
it was still terrible on Prime.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
It was the matchups, though.
Yeah,
and the buffering, and it was terrible signal, terrible.
Now I did like it when they did the broadcast and like commercials would come in, kind of how we got it. The game is like the box, and then that commercial coming like I like that from a standpoint.
The biz, they call it picture in picture.
Nah,
PIP. You talking about 1987?
Picture.
That's like 92
when the commercial is on and the game's still on.
Yeah.
Which I loved from a standpoint because it's like, oh, cool.
But I will say this about Peacock. Peacock does do a good job with streaming and doing their stuff. All the WWE, all those events are on, the premium live events, the SummerSlams and everything. They're on the Peacock network there. So I think, they do a good job of it. I think if you get it, it's inexpensive. Go, at the end of it, this is college football. We can sit and bitch and moan all we want to do, or we can, conform and get the Peacock network and enjoy our Spartans play if we can't make the trip to Iowa.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Cal Halliday is a redshirt junior, by the way. He's not a senior, just one of those older guys. He's been doing it a long time, been making plays his whole career. Guys, Jim Harbaugh suspension rejected by the NCAA and looks to be coaching in all the games in 2023.
I have never heard of this being reject. That just whatever. All right, cool. That's all I got to say. I can't say anything about it. I've never heard that.
Oh, you didn't know this?
I mean, yeah, I knew it, but the NCAA rejecting, it is what it is.
Hey, it's good. Hey, listen, this is not at all like a good thing for Michigan. Chew.
But wasn't it so the NCAA rejects it. Wasn't it Braylon Edwards and his lackey, what's his name, Armani, his little lackey that rolls around with him there, saying, "Oh, the NCAA is out to get Michigan. They're against Michigan. Everything," and this comes up. So once again, it proves those guys are idiots and don't know what they're talking about on that other show there. But with this suspension here, I think there, like if you peel the layers back, I think there's more layers to this onion that has to be peeled back there. I think maybe something bigger is coming down the pipeline there. I'm no conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but you hear why are you laughing, Otis, when I say I'm no conspiracy? But you hear the rumbling.
That's a disclaimer, no offense when, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I am a conspiracy.
But I think there could be something a little bigger coming down the pipeline that could be more than a 4-game suspension. It could be more, maybe Jimbo's last hurrah in Ann Arbor, because there could be something bigger. He could pack his load and skip town.
I thought you would pack the khakis and skip it.
He's in Lululemon territory now. No more khakis. Listen, I agree. This is something bigger that's coming down the pike. This is the rejection was the committee. The committee did not accept the 4-game suspension. They think that it should be.
Was the 4-game suspension? It was a self-imposed. We're going to do
not really
games.
Self-imposed, negotiated terms with the NCAA, but it has to be approved by the committee in order for it to be, levied. It wasn't approved. They want more, and right now it looks like Jim Harbaugh is going to hope that committee doesn't reform and meet again until after the season.
After he skips town.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like is going to happen, more of a Pete Carroll type of thing. So that, what he did at USC, he left after the Reggie Bush saga, for those who don't remember this, and went to the Seattle Seahawks, and USC was, they were sitting on suspend. What they have, like some bowl bans and things like that, loss of scholarships. What the NCAA right now wants Michigan to do is do self-impose, which, for your point, Chew, self-impose some things. So like you saw at Tennessee just had to go through that with the Jeremy Pruitt situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They self-imposed, which gave them a very light sentence. They did the show cause for the coaches who were involved. They were no longer at Tennessee, but the school itself did not have any additional penalties after the self-imposed. I guess they had $4 million to pay, which I think they have down there. But yeah.
I don't even care. Let's beat them. That's it.
That's it. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Suspension. He can be on the sidelines. Doesn't matter. You got to line up the fellas.
Bush,
right?
They need to give Reggie.
I just about to say too.
Give him his Heisman back.
Give Reggie
Reggie getting that Wendy's money, man.
Reggie needs his Heisman back. Johnny Manziel can do all that thing.
That's crazy.
And get nothing, and then give that man his Heisman back.
Give him his Heisman. And look, here's some more preseason bowl projection by CBS Sports, guys. You have MSU heading to the Quick Lane Bowl, December 26th against Miami of Ohio.
Quick trip.
You guys know where that's at.
Quick trip.
Hey, man, look, we all talked about this. There's no knock. This is when it was the Little Caesars, and we had some strong ties, and it's like that right there was. It's no knock. A bowl is a bowl, but we all know that is not a bowl that we want to go to. We're just going down the road, and there's no experience of going to warmer weather. That is not a bowl we want to be a part of, and everybody knows that. Clearly, you want postseason, but
aren't we playing in that bowl game a month before that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right in the same building.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, now what you says 8-4 is a disappointment. We are not about to have that same when you said it it's true. Because at this point it's warm. At this point, if you don't get 8 wins, you go into these quick lane balls,
right, exactly.
So it's the more we win, the more we get a better chance of going to just warmer weather. And I think that yes, all good. At least they got us in the bowl. So that means they got us at least winning six games. But I don't. For me personally, if we're playing, I did not want to go to Detroit and play. I wanted to make sure we went to another bowl game and played a conference that, no knock to the MAC because there's players is balling. No knock to that. They're right. But you want to go where you're going to play
another
Power 5 team. So
yeah, and just for you, just
Power
so
4.5.
Right, exactly. Just so you guys know, speaking of bowl games, I know last year, a kicker cost us a bowl game, in that Indiana game. But here you guys go. You ready? My sources tells me that there was some excitement in camp last week when a kicker hit a 56-yarder in practice.
Did that bring a smile to Choose? What? Choose sources gave him something on a kicker?
Let's dive deeper here. Was there pressure? Like, was this in live on the scrimmage? Like, we were going after? Kickers are like quarterbacks. They got a green shirt, white shirt, but it
was pressure situation with the whistle blowing, the people, how they get you around there. Exactly. And so a kicker made a 56-yarder, and there was a lot of celebration going on after that kick was made. So
now here's what I was saying. If Felino was back on the side, every missed field goal we had last season, you need to replicate that every missed field goal in every position, and clean go 10 for 10 at each spot. That's just me. I just want to erase what happened last season. Go every spot we missed.
New year, new kicker.
I get it. New year, new kicker. But let's see if this man can to make the ones that we missed with the older kickers. But yeah, that's good. That's good news. I'm gonna go look at special teams specifically because I was looking at drills last time I was at practice. I was looking at the kickers. I was looking at the new drills of special teams. But I'm gonna go look.
We need your trained eye, Otis. We need it. We need it on all the drills, everything, especially what's going on with the kicker. By the way, they practiced the kick that we missed against Indiana when they were 12. By the way, all kickers have practiced that one at the age of 12. 22 yards.
I could go there in my Members Mark knockoff Lululemon pants. And
you are very proud that they are
with the opposite of your dominant leg. I mean,
I swear, every time Chew asks me, when he sees my pants, he's like, I got Members Mark, you got Lululemon. He's pointed out.
Yeah.
They asked you to prove it, Chew. But listen, we gotta
absolutely. Let's get to it.
Will Tieman is coming up next, guys. After this message from our friends over at IHOP.
$5 all-you-can-eat pancakes are back to celebrate IHOP's 65th anniversary. So come on in, even if it's your birthday, too. Available for a limited time, only at IHOP. Download the app and start earning free food.
Yes, Donald Person, 12 years old is the truth. And without further ado, we have to bring on the Hall of Famer. MSU's own Will Tieman joins the Sparta MSU. Welcome to the show, Will.
Well, thanks, Jason. Can I do a little bocce thing here?
Yes, please.
Okay. Otis left before he could get on the trophy stand.
I was
pissed.
I was pissed.
He's a sore loser.
I was pissed.
Okay, hold on. See it, third place?
Oh.
Yeah.
Third place?
Me and the net.
Yeah, we take old balls and we do them up. And also, because to help you get over not winning, you get that.
I'll be there. I'll be at the house after the show.
I'll also say this: the 1 week leading up to it, Caulcrick was trash talking me every chance he got, and we played them in the first round out. So Jay, I just want you to see this. This is one of my 3 championship trophies, just so you know.
So I wish we took pictures because when you walk in, like, I mean, they got to set up like the signage, like when Jehuu talked about, like, my mindset's always working, but the signage galore, like you walk in, you got the bocce tournament signage, you walk in, and then you got all the past winners on the banner, right? And so we're looking at the couple, the teams, and in there, and then you see Jeff. So while we're set up top, we're like, everybody is winning, and then you got Jeff and Rev with the photo of himself, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get myself on that billboard right there.
Yeah. So Will, talk a little bit what Otis is talking about. You have a sketch artist that comes in and sketch the winners, right?
Yeah, we take pictures, right? A lot of pictures. And then we send those pictures off and they sketch them. And Rick Imshog at Skyline, who does all the MSU banners and stuff. And what he does, how about that, huh?
Hey, the martini in one hand.
Bocce machine.
Man, did you really do? Oh, was this? What theme was this? Was it? Because you were in a full suit. What theme was that time?
Well, it was a promotional shot. And so I got this black suit on. It's about 99 degrees outside, just sweating to death. But that was one year we did a deal. When you lost, you spun this wheel and you got a gift. And as part of a loser gift, sometimes you get that picture autographed by me. But literally, the bocce tournament to the day was a 20th anniversary of what is a birthday party that went out of control a little bit. But in the back, Otis talked about the banners. We literally have outdoor lighting connected to the tree, so it lights up like a stadium. And I can't explain it, but I know this: it's really hard to win it. And I thought Otis did a great job.
Yeah, and it doesn't do, like, in the daylight, it doesn't do justice. But once the sun goes down and the lights are on, it's a big fight feel in Bocce Arena there. It's so cool.
Bocce Arena.
The best part. The best part. No, sorry, wait. The best part is in each round, they come out and they got the brooms and they're brushing the field of the dirt to make it smoother. Because at the time, it starts to get a little colder. So every time you hit the bocce, there's a bunch of divots. So they're trying to get fresh dirt and get it ready for the next round. And I was like, oh, this is serious. Like, this is serious.
But even better than that is that, because it's like stadium seated, and then there's like the suites that's like inside, and people are sitting on the couch looking at the window, and there are also like suites outside, and then there's like the deck layer with the railing that people are on, and then the other side you got like your floor seats. It's like really cool, like, because I think we're like, hey, where's this person? Oh, they're up in the suites.
From the kitchen area up there looking down. I think we had some video. We're trying to track that down, video on this. But look, there was a question before Will came on. I just want to get to this. And the question came from, I think it was Tom. He asked about Jalen Sami. He said, what do we think about Jalen Sami this season? Like, do you think him being as a difference maker for this season? Now, Jalen Sami is a 6-year defensive lineman from Colorado, the transfer, big 6'6", 330-pound guy. Guys, what do you think about that question?
I think he has a lot to prove, because he was one of those guys that was in that room with Prime, right? Like, he has. It's immediately when you say it, like, he's like, I'm not like, not trash, but like, I'm not baggage goods because I couldn't cut it there. I have something to prove in the Power 5 and Big Ten, and basically, like, we got depth. We have depth at the defensive line, in the defensive line room. So I think, yes, he will be one of those guys in rotation to keep fresh legs out there and keep speed and keep attacking that quarterback. I'll make sure to have more of a report too, as I put my eyes on him when I get to practice tomorrow morning. But I think, yes, he will be a vital piece in that rotation for our defensive line room.
Yeah, and I agree with Otis 100% that I think he has a lot to prove, especially anytime you transfer from one school, and the way that the transfer led, like, with Coach Prime coming in saying, he's bringing his luggage and everything like that. It's more of a force out than that. And coming, to the Big Ten playing big ball, smash mouth football like that, you have a lot to prove. And, anyone that's, 300 plus pounds plugging up the middle there in the defensive line, I'm all in for.
Yeah, listen, I've heard nothing but good things about him coming in. This is a very deep defense, especially on the line. You think about Michigan State, that's going to be the strength of this team, in my opinion. You've got guys like Barrow in the middle there, and this is a guy who can potentially. I mean, when you talk about them being a second team, Jalen Sami, 6'6", 330 pounds. He's a guy that opposing offensive lines have to face when they're rotating, that's a fresh body coming off the sideline, a guy who has that kind of experience, and he's very fleet of foot. He made a lot of plays in that scrimmage too. My sources say he was one of the guys who stood out actually in this past scrimmage from a defensive line perspective. So I think that sky's the limit. There's no true starters when you think about defense. There's not just 2 defensive tackles. There's going to be about 4 to 6 guys that rotate in on any given series. So that is a guy who we're going to definitely be keeping an eye on, and he's going to contribute a lot for Michigan State. So I hope that answers your question. Now back to Bocce.
Did we get the video? Did we get the video? Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Now check out Otis. He looks like he's actually going to bowl here.
Hey,
get his feet right.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, he didn't do it that time.
But look.
Oh my goodness.
Boy, that boy was out there on fire.
You guys see this stadium? Do you see this?
Yes, look at this, man. Like, now look, I was just talking like I kept thinking like, when the sun goes down, these mosquitoes are about to go ham on myself. But no, this was a great thing. Like seeing that. I'm glad you invited me, man. I'm glad I made it out there, because at first I was like, I couldn't get no sitter, but my parents came through, so thankfully. And I was like, I gotta go at least show face. And the best part is when I got there, and then we'll go to the next topic. But I didn't know who my partner was, right? So no I'm like, right, but I was like, okay, right. But I was like, who's in that? So True out of nowhere, like everybody's out there playing.
We're in the suites.
We're in the suites. I'm in the top level outdoor suite. Chew goes loudly like 5 times back to back. Annette. And lo and behold, Annette looks up like, I'm Annette. And Annette's never been that far. We were on fire until we met, fatigue and, a group that just killed us. But I will be back. So I feel like we need to get some live coverage. We saw live coverage from us on live social. But we got to do some more live coverage, Will. Will was doing too much delegating, and he needs to hire somebody to do all the operation logistics.
Yeah, we need some help. Affecting my play. We should mention, Matt Stingham, my partner in basketball, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His wife, Allison, and
they won.
An intern of ours, Lauren Corso, they won it.
Yeah,
They won. Stackinga's wife.
Man,
so
listen,
Matt now
he was asleep half the time,
too. He lives with a champion.
Yes, he does.
He's not.
Can't be one, live with one. No, that is awesome. Will, like you're bringing it up now, and this is something that will be in the play-by-play. Long time. How many years play-by-play voice of Michigan State basketball? Excuse me.
Just finished 26.
26 seasons.
Look at those guys.
Hey, getting ready for a game. Spartan Stadium. So 26 years.
Yeah.
Talk about your career. I mean, this is an aircraft carrier here. Man,
yeah,
you've been some places.
It was interesting this is our second time on the aircraft carrier, and what was interesting, the first time we did the aircraft carrier, which was the first time anybody did it, it was the only time, I think, barring our Michigan game after the shootings, that who won the game wasn't important, really. It was such an event. You had the president there, the first lady, cabinet members, and it was just amazing. And people may wonder why Michigan State does this sort of thing in basketball. And those who pay attention to what Coach Izzo is doing, Tom is pro-military, and we've been to Germany at NATO bases. And what happens there is, when the Michigan State team shows up and the opponent, we're bringing a little home to these service personnel. And you don't realize what it means until you get there, visit with the men and women of our armed forces, and see the look in their eye that they get a little touch of home. And it dawned on me why Tom does these sort of things. But at the end of the day, there's a great story. We're playing in a NATO base in Germany, and we're playing Connecticut. And, I don't know anybody in Germany. And I'm pacing around, getting ready for this thing, and we're in an airplane hangar. And so, by the way, big airplane hangar. And this fella comes up to me, and he says, "Will, can I talk to you for a second?" And I go, "Well, yeah." And I'm trying to understand how he even knew who I was. And so he had one more year at the base. He's from Lansing, Michigan. And he listened online to the basketball games. And that was his connection to home. And you don't think about that. And if you listen to our broadcast now, I don't care. It may not sound like it fits, but every basketball broadcast for sure. I mentioned somewhere in that broadcast something about home, the weather, anything. So those who are listening, who are from Michigan, from Lansing, whatever, can have a little bit of home to think about. And that's the impact this sort of thing has. And this is the subtle stuff Coach Izzo does. It goes unnoticed sometimes, but it's amazing the impact all this has. And to get to be a part of it, I mean, really, all I do is kind of show up and figure out who's got the ball. So I'm kind of along for the ride, but it's amazing all the experiences we've had. And it's, oh, where did you get that picture?
Hey, we have sources.
Boy, that boy, that was a nice perm right there.
I love the jacket. That's right. Look, the Hall of Fame family, Will and Wendy, the boss.
Yeah, it's amazing. The Hall of Fame thing of the Michigan Association of Broadcasters. We're the only husband and wife team that went in together ever. Because we didn't go in as two people. We went in as a group, as a pair. And that was so cool. That was
Definitely.
So cool. That was a big moment. But
I
Jay,
feel like
not as
Will-
big as this, but it was pretty good.
Receipts.
Will, while we're on basketball, it's like talk to us about just the best moments you've had with Tom in the storied history, obviously, of Michigan State basketball. We are, for those out there, we're celebrating the 125th season of the program this coming up, right? And, you've been part of 26 of those years, right?
That's kind of like a century.
I'm waiting for one of you guys to say, what, you weren't part of all this? 125.
Right. But just talk about when you first started out and then, knowing you grew the entire years with Tom and, with obviously his predecessor. And so talk about just the evolution of Tom, but the best kind of stories or maybe top one or two of the experience you've had with calling the game with Coach Izzo.
I'll give you the best story, and it has nothing to do with an interview with him. This is an interesting dynamic that I've only kind of felt at the basketball office. When you walk into that basketball office, with that comes this responsibility that you need to try your best. And you just walk in there, whether it's the managers or broadcasters or whomever, the feeling is if you're part of the group, it's expected that you're going to do the best you possibly can do. And if you don't do that, you feel guilty, like you let people down. And, we all have good days and bad days. But I've never been in an environment where, Tom Izzo's never said to me once, you need to do better, you need to try harder. He didn't have to. It's just the price of admission to be with that program, which is pretty special. And so that's the one thing I find most intriguing about it. And it's been fun to watch him, I won't say mature is the right word, but because he's still a tough guy and he's still disciplined. He's still all the things young people need, I believe, but his approach is a little different, maybe a little calmer, maybe a little more cerebral. But at the end of the day, it is amazing. And a funny story, and it's not really funny, but it's, sometimes interviewing Tom after a loss is a little tough, can be a little dicey.
You think?
Yeah. And sometimes, while we're waiting for Tom, Matt and I look at each other like, what are we going to say? What do we do? And so the Big Ten during the COVID year, we were off 17 days. We just got the green light to come back to practice. Our team was no way was it ready physically to go on the road and play basketball. We physically weren't ready. Yet the Big Ten still made us go. And they didn't do that to every school, and I'll just leave it at that. And so we go to Rutgers. We had 3 road games in a row: Rutgers, Purdue, Iowa. So we go to Rutgers, and somehow we're within 4 points at halftime. I don't know how that happened. And we wound up losing by 30 because we were just physically exhausted. We needed at least another 3 or 4 days of doing nothing to get our sea legs back. And so I'm looking at Matt like, what are we possibly going to ask him? And he's in there and he says, guys, I'm ready. And so we welcome Tom on. And before I can come up with any sort of question, he says, don't even ask me a question. I'm going to tell you guys what happened. For 10 minutes, he explained exactly what happened to his team and the game. And it was the best interview I've done in my life because I didn't ask one question.
And we know you got questions, right?
I got questions.
Right.
I got questions. But it's being around him is amazing. And the other thing, besides, the moments you have when you're just talking about things, the guy loves the sport of basketball. I think people would be shocked how hard he works to make the game better. He got that from Judd. I think they would be shocked how much time he spends getting the backside of current players, past players. And he does a lot of charitable things and community things that he just, some people like to promote themselves. He's not that person. And when we were the only group that broadcast home and away during that COVID year. And we were getting tested about every day. And so one day, Tom took his test. I took mine. We're walking back to the basketball office waiting for the results. And I had heard this marvelous thing he had done. And I said, you know what, Tom, we gotta talk about this in our next pregame show or on your radio show, because this is big. He said, no, I didn't do it to get publicity. And if you say a word, no. Of course, when he says no, it's no, right? and so there's a lot of that about him. But think about this. Who has a radio show? He whips out an accordion,
Christmas holiday,
kind of plays it, sort of sings. At best, it's awful. And every year we win an award for that stuff.
At best, it's awful. I caught that, Will.
But it's a lot of fun. And if you want to know what people think about him that really matter, he's a tough guy. And more than once I've seen players come back and apologize and say to Tom, Coach, I'm sorry, I didn't get it, but I do now. And in the winter, usually in February, is when he has his big player reunion. And hundreds of people come back, hundreds from all over the place. Managers, players, and that doesn't happen if they don't love the guy, they don't do it. They just don't. You don't come back to be part of a group and pay a little bit of honor to the man who created all this, unless you love the guy. And I just think what he's done is amazing. There's been no coach in the history of the Big Ten at a school that's won more games overall. In terms of Big Ten games, he's trailing Bobby Knight by 20. So realistically, that's 2 more seasons to pass Bobby Knight. No coach has ever taken one school to 25 straight NCAA tournaments. He's done that. Who has that kind of consistency? Because not every team is great. You guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of strange things happen in the course of a year, but I just watch him weave his magic, and it's pretty amazing. And I just landed right in the middle of it. How lucky am I? Of course, Tom asks me all the time what I think he should do, and I'm more than happy. I help him all the time.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Little joke.
Well, while we're on basketball, a question for you is, that year that we had Cassius Winston, his senior year there, and the season was cut short. The tournament was cut off and everything like that. A lot of people say, that's the year that Izzo could have got number 2, being the national title. What are your thoughts? Because you were with that team the entire season. How special was that team?
That was amazing because, as you know, that was the year that Cash has lost his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And as you might guess, life wasn't quite the same for him. It affected his life, and part of his life is playing basketball, right? And so coming down the stretch, and Mike Garland worked with him a lot. He told Coach Garland, I feel like I'm coming back now. And you guys will relate to this because, you know, sometimes you don't feel right. The football doesn't feel right, or running down the field doesn't quite feel right. Well, he said, it's starting, the ball feels right again. I'm seeing things right again. I think I'm coming back. And I will tell you, today they pulled a plug on the season. We were getting ready to get on the bus to go to Indy. And we knew at that point there'd be no fans, but we didn't dream we wouldn't play. And I agree with anybody that says that team could have won the national championship. That last practice we had, I've never seen us look so crisp, so good, not fatigued. And there was no doubt we were going to blow through and win the Big Ten tournament. And I think I would have been a little surprised if we weren't national champs. That's how good we were. And then for Tom to call everybody together and say, it's over, go home. I mean, what does that mean? It's over. And he said, you'll find out later that the season's done. And I've never felt that way ever. You know, in that environment, we all just stood there. And so COVID cheated a lot of people out of a lot of things. There's no question. Did damage to a lot of families. But that particular basketball team, you watched a group of young men overcome things, poised to hit the highlight of their college career, reach the pinnacle, and it got denied. And people are crying, it's sad, and you're just in shock that something could take away the opportunity like that. And if there's a good part of any of this, when we finally got to play again, especially in front of crowds, what we might have taken for granted, we don't anymore. I don't. Mm-hmm. Last year, I thought was the first time we really been back with great crowds everywhere we went. And I just enjoyed it so much because I just couldn't believe all the things we all love were just taken away that quick. And so it's back now. I hope it stays back. But back to the original question, that team could have won the national championship. That team was great.
Will, look, you know, keeping with this, I mean, that was an emotional answer, by the way. And you know, keeping with that, is there a football or basketball loss that still really bothers you? And then after that, is there a game that you just was so exhilarating you wish you could relive it? So both of those, two-part question for you, man.
Anytime we beat Duke, I want to relive it. Anytime we beat Michigan, I want to relive it 2 or 3 times. But I'll tell you, the one football game that still lives with me, and I'm not saying this because Jehu's on the screen.
Oh, boy, I know what it is.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, we're playing Notre Dame,
tell them.
right?
Tell them.
Jehu is owning them. It's pouring rain.
Oh,
And for some unknown reason, with a big lead and the clock ticking, we decide to not give it to Jehuu and throw the ball in the rain. Okay. Didn't go so well. We lost the game. Yeah. So there's a rule in our household. When we lose, you walk in the door, it's over. We just talk about what's next. So it's a night game. So we probably got home about 2 a.m. And I got the play-by-play sheet. And I said to Wendy, I went, can you please bear with me just a second? They took a marker, right? And it's about the, 3, 4, 5 minute mark of the game. I just highlighted it. And I said, now just look at this. Tell me if you think I'm right. Assuming there's no fumbles, if we take 3 knees and punt, and they score, and we get it back, and take 3 more knees and punt, would you agree it was impossible for them to have enough time to score to win the game? She goes, yes, let's go to bed. No, I'm going to talk about this game. And so that football game, but And of course, all those great games, D'Antonio, you can just go up and down the list of all those things. But the one that is really amazing, I had two moments with Coach D that I will never forget. The first one was his very first game. And so we're in the locker room, and we played Alabama, Birmingham. Wasn't much of a game. And Wendy, our producer, is in my ear, and she's telling me that Michigan's on the ropes against Appalachian State.
Oh.
Well, down deep, you just know they're going to come back and win, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've exhausted all the questions, and we're wrapping it up. And she says to me, Michigan has just lost to Appalachian State. Well, I got to say something. And so I say to Mark, I go, Mark, some of these non-conference games are a lot more difficult than people think. And he's looking at me like, what are you talking about? I said, for example, Michigan has just lost to Appalachian State. He says, really? This is on the air. Really? But I started laughing. I go, really? And then he goes, moment of silence. One of the greatest lines I've ever heard.
So with that, let me tell you this.
Ripped us after.
Within that, you might not, people might not connect the dots, but I knew that he said the moment of silence, should we have a moment of silence? And that is what sparked that following year with Mike Hart's little brother comment, because if you look at pictures after they beat us, they went to that same year in 2007. They were in the middle of the field. They held a ceremonial moment of silence. You can see a picture of Mike Hart going like this and everything. So those sort of things too. So Will, actually, you had a little play in that little brother comment to the whole thing there for asking that question.
Oh, so you were billboard material? Is that what they got that and played it for the team?
Yeah.
Oh,
bulletin board material.
Bulletin board material.
And then the other one was after the great win over Notre Dame, which arguably with that moment in time was probably Coach Z's biggest win as a head coach.
Yeah.
In those days, the post-game interviews were in a room that was not connected to the ground. So it was like way up there.
The tunnel.
So they would whip in these metal stairs so you walked up, right?
The librarian chair, like staircase.
Yeah, like
and so
what was that?
Anyway, so what happened was everybody was in shock with the play that won the game, and they couldn't clear the tunnel, which meant they couldn't get the steps in. So here's Mark D'Antonio, the biggest win of his head coaching career at the moment, climbs up a ladder to get to me to do his interview. And it was 20 minutes later, he had a heart attack. That was the game where he had the heart attack. And it was weird. Wendy from the booth, who's never done this, asked me, what did he look like? How did he look? Which is an odd question to ask. I said, well, he looked great. He did. He was happy, feeling good. Okay, now you move forward a little bit. About a week later, one of our PR guys handed me a phone before the game and said, Coach D wants to talk to you. And I go, hi, Mark. He said, just want you to know, thanks for making me climb up that damn ladder and give me a heart attack. So people say he doesn't have a sense of humor.
You know what we should do, Will? We should print out a cutout, like have Rick from Skyline give a body cutout and put it on that brick spot in the tunnel. And so look, my dog. But we need to put your photo of your body right there on that brick, because you can still see the cut, like the brick that where your little room used to be at, where you used to walk up and you used to be squatting in there on a little chair with all your stuff.
But you guys ever remember going up there?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We got Otis to sing after a game. He was on the show, and he's a great singer.
Great singer and great acoustics in there.
There he is. Look at
Look
him.
at Otis.
Boy, I tell you, man. Look,
Sideline days, baby.
I think it was after that season. I was like, Will, I am not wearing a suit ever again on the sideline.
and now as the silent, I appreciate the no suit on the sideline.
I tell you,
I remember Stray used to be like a pastor in
Sweat.
church sweating.
Absolutely. That was that time.
Oh man, the one year we played at Western Michigan.
Oh,
August,
my
right?
goodness.
Oh, it was so hot, and the windows didn't open up in the booth, so that it's like 100 degrees. Humidity's crazy. It's hot as can be, and we're putting like wet towels on Stray's head because it was like smoking. It was like
Literally.
there was steam coming off his head.
Fire, bro.
The trainers had to come to him and put the.
I was in condition.
We
pushed through it. We pushed through it now.
I know.
Hey, listen, if Stray would have passed out on that sideline,
But
Hydrate.
one of the fun moments.
Monsters.
Get this, we're downtown Indianapolis for the Final Four, and I bump into the Caulcrick. Just bump into him, and he said,
what state of mind was he in when you bumped into him?
well, that I'm not sure about. I've never figured that out yet. But he was in a good mood.
He was in a good mood.
And he goes, "Do you know what it's like to be interviewed by you?" And he imitated me. Here's what it's like when you talk to us after a game. And I'm like, you're kidding me. I really sound that way?
In the middle of the street.
Yeah.
In Indianapolis.
People are walking by like, stay away from those two. Stay away. That was fun. But think of all the magic moments we had. I mean,
Yeah.
but the craziest one was the 10-second game. That was crazy enough. So think about this. As you guys know, that Michigan visiting locker room is not nice. It's just, they should torch it. It would be better torched than it is right now. Okay, enough of that. So, I've stayed out as long as I can. There's no monitors in that 1912 locker room. So I'm in there and I'm literally talking to the booth. I'm talking to Wendy and we're trying to figure out. They've come in, they've taken Paul Bunyan, the trophy's gone. It's just me, a security guard, and a manager. And I'm just talking to Wendy about, what do you think about our line of questioning, things like that. And I just say to her, by the way, how much time's left in this game? And she goes, about 10 seconds. I go, what are we doing? She goes, well, they're punting. I said, they're punting? That was the last English I heard from her. What was coming out next was, I don't know what she was saying, but I knew something was happening. So think about this. For 1 hour, I'm in that locker room talking to people about this magic moment, and I'm the only guy besides the security guard and the manager. I never saw the play. I didn't see the play till I got home.
Could you hear it? Could you hear it in there? Could you feel the rumbling or anything, or was it quiet? What was it like?
Oh, it was nuts because, I heard, well, obviously I heard Wendy speaking some foreign tongue. I don't know what that she was doing, but she was so excited. And then at the end of it all, it was, I just knew something big happened. And then I found out what happened. And I was stunned. And then as you look at the Coach D era, he makes the team stay on the bus 10 extra seconds when they pull up. I mean, I once said to him, you're talking to somebody we're not talking to. You got something going on.
Exactly.
But these were moments that you'll never you just live with you. And the thing I think that's really cool, and all you guys know it, when you're with a group and something really special happens, you're bonded together forever.
Yeah. And
you have this great joy. And you can't describe it. You can't buy it. It's just something that's just organic and it stays with you. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. But you just go through all of these different things, and it's amazing what you live through with all these people. And it's funny, especially football, right? Over 100 people, just players.
I mean, it's a
Coming from everywhere.
Well,
They come together.
So on that, I remember you talked about App State. That you were talking to Coach D at the time doing the interview. I was going down the elevator shaft, and it was the roar from our fans was louder then than we're winning our own game. It was super loud.
Right.
I was like, what's going on? We had no TVs in the elevator. But we have a question for you. What is your recent take of all the recent changes in the Big Ten? With the expansion and all the things that are going on.
Well, I'm looking forward to my week-long trip like the NBA to go out west to play basketball.
Oh, man.
I don't want to sound like the old guy.
Get off my lawn, guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. And I understand what's happening, but think about this a little bit. What makes college athletics special? It's geography. It's rivalries that we've grown up with our whole life, and it's part of our fiber. And I think we're giving that away a little bit. I mean, in basketball, instead of playing Oakland at Little Caesars Arena, we're playing Baylor. Now, is that a more high-profile game for television? Yes. But in the state of Michigan, we've had some great games with Oakland. And so we're giving things away. And I'm sure all those Bruin fans at UCLA can't wait to play Rutgers. I know that's the biggest game in their career. And so I think we're giving away some of the magic that makes college football what it is. And it makes me a little sad. And the other thing is, last year, Purdue got to play for a Big Ten championship. Played pretty well for 3 quarters. But the point is, we have divisions, and they earned the right to play for a championship. If we're going to line up 18 teams and just take the best 2, the odds are we're going to get the same 2 or 3 all the time. And then it's going to be virtually impossible for most of the schools to ever win a Big Ten championship if we don't have divisions. And I know that opinion is not shared by many, but it just seems like if you're, say, Minnesota, for example, how would you feel if you thought Indiana, you never had a shot to go to Indy and play for the championship? I think there's kind of sad. And I actually talked to you guys when we were in Indy together that I think it might be, when we go to 12 teams for the championship playoffs, it might be easier to make the national championship playoffs than it is to win a Big Ten title in football. Now, how crazy is that? In basketball, it's the other way around. It's difficult to win a Big Ten title in basketball, but it's more difficult to win the national championship. Maybe not so in college football coming up.
Great point.
Great point. Great answer on that one. I mean, I think it's a mixed bag of feelings because, obviously we got to get with it because it's happening. But from a radio standpoint, like, are you close with those Oregon, those Washington and UCLA, USC radio crews? Like, do you know those guys very well?
No. Actually, I do know. I know the UCLA crew, and we were obviously out in Washington.
Yeah.
And those guys, their play-by-play guy, we got to know him because for a while he was at Ohio State doing some stuff. And so your paths do cross a little bit. And when we went to Washington, their head of football communications is from like Dearborn. I don't know if any of you guys read the book Boys in the Boat. It's about the rowing team that won the gold medal in rowing in '36 in Berlin. And that was the University of Washington team. Yeah. And it's a great book. I recommend it. Anyway, they have the boat there for display, like a block from the stadium. So we called, they let us in so we could see all the gold medals and this boat that they won the gold medal in. And I asked the lady that let us in, she's an assistant athletic director. I said, "Where are you from?" And she goes, "Okemos." I'm thinking, how many Okemoses are there? She said, "Yeah, I'm from Okemos, Michigan. Went to Okemos High School, came west to go to college, and then just never went back home." And so it's amazing how many Midwest connections you find, even out there on the West Coast. But I got a question for you guys. Would you have ever dreamed that a Power 5 conference would disintegrate as fast as the Pac-12 did?
No,
Never.
not one bit.
Yeah, there's always you always thought like those like the Mountain West and the whatever Big Sky and all those teams would join different things, but I always thought Power 5 conferences would be mainstay, especially one like the Pac-12 conference. I thought like you would get people wanting to join them, like the Boise States and all those people that's out there, and leaving the Mountain West Conference. But those are holding stronger than a conference like the Pac-12 that has such rich tradition and history. Especially with the Rose Bowl game, Pac-12 versus Big Ten, all those different things. So I didn't think something like that would happen, but it's the crazy way of college football nowadays. Well.
Yeah, and think of it. Remember when we were talking about the Big 12? They're done.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Everybody thought the Big 12 would be the first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to think about like whose fault was it? Like,
think about it though.
Who's at fault? Because go ahead, Trey.
Big 12 loses Oklahoma and Texas, and they go out and start acquiring like bats out of hell. They didn't stop. Well, Big Ten guts the Pac-12 by taking UCLA and USC, right? And what does the Pac-12 do? They just turtled up. They didn't do much. They went out and got an Apple deal for $20 million that no one wanted. And then just, Oregon and Washington were still teetering, and then it was over, guys. It just, you can't sit on your hands. If somebody comes and poaches you, you better move. You have to, right? You guys got to play with your hat on fire, man. Just like you learn in football. You know what I'm saying, Otis?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got to shout out Steve Smith, because Steve Smith has probably asked us 1,000 times, how did you come up with the call? He got it, and they would like for you to obviously do it live as well to close out the show, Will, with you. Before you do that, we had a meeting, and Will has never been asked to do this, but we're meeting with Town Square Media, which is one of our partners, and we're going through and we're talking business. So then someone asked, Will, can you do a call play-by-play and end with he got it? And Will's like, I've never been asked to do this in live person. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, he says, close your eyes. And I was like, oh. So I would like for you to set the tone like
first,
that.
We have a call that they want to play. Let's play this call first.
5 left in this thing. Walker gets it back in the backcourt, directing traffic. Off of Pick Brown. Does he get a third one? He does. He got it.
What a great down screen there by Malik Hall. Gabe Brown again coming off looking to shoot aggressively, knocks it down.
I love it. You squeaked on that one a little bit. That's awesome.
The he got it thing, I don't know where. I swear I don't know how it crept in like it did. It wasn't like I went home, hey, I got an idea, let's do this. It just happened. And one day, I'm at the grocery store. Wendy says, can you go stop by and get some milk or something? So I'm coming around the aisle, and this guy sees me and screams at me, he got it, scared the hell out of me. So I come home, and I go, I got to quit doing that, man. These people are making fun of me. And Wendy goes, you're an idiot. It's the best thing you've ever done. So I don't know where it started. It just became part of it, and it's really a lot of fun. It just kind of fits. And one time a guy made a 3, and I didn't give him he got it, and Stinging it chewed me out on the air. You cheated that guy. What's wrong with you?
You cheated that guy.
And in Aikens, at a charity golf outing, once came up to me and he goes, Will, how's your throat? How's it feel? I said, feels good. He said, it better be good because you're going to say he got it a lot when this season starts because I'm going to light it up. I said, you make him, I'll say it. But it's been fun, and I really don't know where it started. I really don't. And we've gone back to some old tapes. to try to figure out, and it just sort of, drifted through.
Wow.
There you go.
There it is.
No, Will, you got to do it. You got to close your eyes.
Yeah, well, you got to give us a play. Give us a play.
Okay. You guys got your eyes closed?
All right, we're going to close our eyes.
Okay,
Yes.
Here we go. Okay. Wiley brings it down, gets it into the wing to Caulcrick. He's trying to set up Strayhorn down low. They got him boxed out. Back to Wiley. Wide open for a three. He got it.
I'm glad you put me at the shot. Let's go, baby.
That was pretty damn good, Will.
Great.
We got to get this guy a job.
Hey, Otis, before we let Will go, I want you to do me a favor here.
Yes.
Do your Will impersonation. Do your Will voice.
Oh my God.
Wait,
You just did it because I have a comparison. Do your Will voice that you just did.
What?
When you said the Town Square Media, you're like,
it's like, close your eyes. It's like when he said that, I just bust out laughing and like closed my eyes, like, close your eyes. I can't even do the whole call, but go ahead. I could do when he calls me, Otis.
okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
Now do your John L. Smith voice.
Oh, that's easy.
Are you trying to merge them?
He's trying to merge them? No, we don't say the same.
I'm feeling bad now.
Oh, no. You say, well, fellas, we got fired.
Damn.
We got fired today, so we're going to spend all their money.
Every
penny of their money.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Will, it was wonderful having you on the show, man. I mean, great stories, great insight, and love having you. Got to come back.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it before, not too long. We got both seasons that we can talk about, football and basketball, with Will Tieman, the Hall of Famer. Thank you for joining this.
17 days, Will. 17
That's
days.
it. We'll be on. We'll be with you.
Kickoff show. I can feel it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And don't forget, all the Peacock people, remember, radio is free.
Hey, look at you. Look at him. Appreciate you spending time with us tonight, Will.
Yeah,
hey, I'm going to swing by.
Employed.
Hey,
Gainfully.
Hey, Will, bring my present tomorrow to lunch, all right?
You got it. Here it
Got
is.
you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
Will Tieman, everybody. Man, I mean, we could literally, that is a record. Where are we at? Yeah, 112. Yeah, there's no way. Look, the over-under, that is the under right there. For sure. We hit the under.
Wait, are you going to announce who we got next week? On Thursday? Or are you going to make the people wait?
Man, we got George Blaha. That's who it is. Yep. Little George Blaha.
We go from he got it to touchdown MSU.
I love it.
That's what's next. All right.
Now look, we're gonna have to do a trial to make sure that all that stuff's set up. So
I asked Ray about that.
You need to go visit the Blahas to make sure we straight. We good? Okay,
we good, man.
All
George
right,
is a pro at this, man.
All right.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
George Blaha coming at you next. Well, this 48 hours from now.
Absolutely.
Make it 46 and a half. We'll be back. Guys, great show. Will Tieman was awesome. You guys, man, well-oiled machine. Jehuu Caulcrick and Otis Wiley. Thank you, guys. And I'm Jason Strayhorn. This is Sparta MSU. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. God bless, and go green.
Go white.
This is Sparta MSU is a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Tony LaBarbera, Tony Gustella, and Process Driven Consulting. Additional support is provided by Brendan Duravage. On-location technical support provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our host Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest This is Sparta news, please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support. And as always, go green.